Alrighty, so today we're going to talk about the other conference final, that is the Eastern Conference final, and it's only fitting that in a playoffs where the Eastern Conference just does not make any sense whatsoever, chaos basically reigns supreme in the Eastern Conference, that a 7 seed will make it into MLS Cup, and I think that's the lowest seed ever to make it to MLS Cup. I think previously the lowest seed was the Colorado Rapids back in 2010. I think they were either the 5 or 6 seed, and they even caused a major upset in MLS Cup as well, beating FC Dallas as considered one of the greatest Cinderella story you have ever seen in MLS playoff history. But yeah, in the end, the New York Red Bulls, they're going to MLS Cup for the first time since 2008 after a 1-0 win against Orlando City. And really, this was a perfect road game for the New York Red Bulls. I mean, this was a game where, even though they didn't create a lot of chances in this one, they really shut down this Orlando City attack. Didn't really give them that much chances. And that's kind of been the theme for the Red Bulls. When you look at the last couple of games, they have put goose egg on the scoreboard. They have been able to keep the clean sheet. This defense has just been unbelievable in the last couple of games. But at the same time, I would also say that, for Orlando City, even though they didn't have as much chances as they had in previous game, this was another game where they wasted those moments that they actually did had those big opportunity, and that's been the theme for this Orlando City side. The inability to finish chances has been kind of frustrating, and while they have kind of got away with it in the last couple of games, they didn't get away with it in this game against the Red Bulls. Now, early on in the first half, not much in terms of chances. That would kind of be the theme throughout the first half, as there was no shot through the first 10 minutes. We then had a small coming together between both team. Again, when you get to this stage, frustration is going to be happening when it comes to some coming together. So yeah, not surprised that of course is the case. But the possession was actually 63 to 37 in favor of the Red Bulls early, which that was not the game, and I'm pretty sure a game that anybody expected, because the Red Bulls, they're a team that they don't like possession. They're a pressing kind of team. They like to win the ball high up the pitch, but they're also a team that they don't actually uh want to have possession. They're not kind of a team that's going to play that ticky tacky kind of style. So the fact that the Red Bulls had most of the possession, that was kind of surprising. But at the same time, maybe this is Orlando City, and Oscar realized that let's put Red Bulls in their out of their comfort zone and see how they, of course, would deal with it. And in some way, they did a good. It worked out because the Red Bulls weren't really doing much when it comes to that possession. Though that being said, Orlando City themselves weren't doing much with their moments of going through transition, as they sometimes like to do. And as a result, it was kind of a bit of a stalemate kind of game. 20 minutes in, we still have yet to see a shot register between both teams, though the possession did start even out 30 minutes in, 51 to 49 in favor of the Red Bulls now. And in the 32nd minute, we finally had our first shot of the game, as Cornell denied Torres, as that was the game's first shot, and really a great chance too. I mean, that was a great save there from Carlos Cornell, who has quietly had a really good playoffs. Vanzier with the Red Bulls first shot, but he flashed that one. That was also a good chance too as well. And again, after 32 minutes of no shots by either team, we saw two chances by either team that could have got the opening of this game. Though in the 38th minute, Enrique was in on goal there, but he waited too long to pull the trigger and lost the chance. That just kind of sums up his playoffs, and really most time for Orlando in this playoffs. The clinical moment and the vital moment in that final third, unable to convert those chances, even though it's there. It's got to be very frustrating if you're an Orlando City fan. Venzier then hits the signating as the flag went up, and we head to halftime, unsurprisingly scoreless between both of these teams. Now in the second half, we do finally get the opening goal of the game, and it's Andres Reyes, an unlikely source. I mean, you wouldn't have thought that he would be a guy that would be a difference maker in terms of this game. Though that being said, he has had 4 goals in his career, so he has known to score those goals from the set piece, and there it is. It was a beautiful ball there from John Tolkien right to Reyes in the back post. Questionable defending there from Orlando City, especially leaving Reyes wide open there in the back post. But nevertheless, great set piece, and just like that, the Red Bulls has the lead coming out of the half. Janssen did look to respond, but he missed wide there. And following that attempt, there was also a huge shout for a penalty for Orlando, as Janssen felt like he was brought down in the box. I think that was a good no call. I don't think there was too much in terms of that. Even though I know Orlando City fans will disagree, maybe there was enough contact to call that a penalty. But in the playoffs like this, where sometimes the referee's gonna let go of something that you see in the regular season that probably won't be called in the playoffs. I think that was a good no call on that part. But really, not much chances was created here in the beginning of the second half too, and this favored the Red Bulls because they want to keep Orlando pinned deep. And again, Orlando, they just looked toothless going forward. They couldn't solve the Red Bulls defense that was very tight and very organized. There was a shout for a second yellow card on Reyes after he committed a foul with a high boot. There was no second yellow in terms of that play, but again, going back to what I said, in the regular season, this might have been worthy of a second yellow card, but I think in the playoffs like this, I think the referee just kind of let them go. And again, Reyes probably very lucky that he didn't get a second yellow. If this was a regular season game, he probably would have been sent off because with a high boot like that, that's always worthy of a yellow card, in this case, a second yellow. Santos would then hit one right to Cornell before Maguire would miss way wide from close range in the 79th minute. Orlando was pushing hard to get the equalizer. The Red Bulls, again, they were looking to hold on and were looking for those transitional moments. They haven't had a lot of that, at least for throughout this game, but maybe now you have the chance to do so with the way that Orlando has to push man forward. They have to get this equalizer. Moriel then skies one that was so badly hit, it basically stayed in play. That pretty much just sums up his season for Orlando City. What a disappointing signing it's been for Orlando. Not with Luis Moriel. Just a guy that we know what he did with Atalanta. We know how good he is, and everybody thought that he was a good replacement for Duncan Maguire. Well, not only the fact that he was not the replacement for Maguire, and obviously Maguire never got sold because of the shenanigans that happened between them and Blackburn Rovers. But yeah, it's been a very disappointing season for Luis Moriel. I don't know if he's going to be returning next season as a result of that. And then Angulo missed an absolute sitter from close range. Again, that play just kind of also sums up Orlando finishing in this game and really in this playoffs. And again, so far they haven't been paid for their bad finishing throughout this playoffs. They might have finally caught up to them as they're staring on a disappointing exit. And then in the second minute of stoppage time, Manuel was in on goal there, but he was absolutely robbed by Pedro Galese on a 1v1 opportunity. But it didn't really matter in the end because in the end, the New York Red Bulls, they win this game. They made it to MLS Cup for the first time since 2008, and this also is actually their first ever Eastern Conference champion crown because well, what's kind of weird that back in the mid 2000s and into the 2010s, where you see Eastern Conference team actually get into the Western Conference bracket. It's kind of one of the wacky things that we've seen in the playoffs over the years in MLS, and that was the year where they actually won the Western Conference title back in 2008, despite the fact that they were an Eastern Conference team. But this is, of course, officially their first ever Eastern Conference crown. I think they're the only need team besides maybe Colorado and Dallas are the only two teams to be able to do that as well. But yeah, overall, again, for the Red Bulls, what a season it's been. And again, nobody saw this coming. If you would have told any Red Bulls fan in the beginning of the playoffs that this team would be reaching MLS Cup this year, a team that in the second half of the season looked like they were ready to go that so Metro kind of narrative, nobody would have thought that this would be the case. But here we are in a year where again the upsets are the theme of this year, and the Eastern Conference playoffs just completely thrown into a chaos mode. They're made it to the MLS Cup. Now, obviously, they're gonna have a really tough task to face against the Galaxy. And again, I think that's another game where you could really say it's the immovable object versus the unstoppable force. The Galaxy. I know in the last game they were held in check against Seattle. But it's kind of shown that if you have a good deep defense, as this Red Bulls team has had throughout this playoffs, they have a shot against the Galaxy. I mean, I know everybody say the Galaxy are heavy favorites in that game, but in MLS Cup, we've seen it before. Just because you're heavy favorites in a game, and especially the theme of this playoffs is upset, you never know. You never know that we could finally see the end of really probably one of the worst legacy of failure we have ever seen, or maybe best legacy of failure, depending on how you redid with the New York Red Bulls, a really just a 2.5 decade long of nothing but playoff futility and heartbreak, and the that's so Metro kind of narrative that goes there. It might finally come to an end, if they can win that MLS Cup against the Galaxy. But for Orlando City, it's a very disappointing way to exit the playoffs. I mean, I know, yes, they got further than they ever been before. This is the opportunity that they could have got to MLS Cup with the way that all the good competition was out of the picture. This was really the chance to do so, and I don't know if they will get another chance next year, knowing that when you look at those juggernaut in the Eastern Conference, that is Columbus and Inter Miami, is going to get themselves back into the fold. Yeah, again, this was the chance for Orlando City to do so. And again, the problem for Orlando City throughout this playoffs, it's kind of started to be like what we saw in the beginning of the season. They have problem when it comes to scoring goals and finishing their chances. And while they kind of got away with it a little bit in the last couple of games, yeah, in this game they didn't get away with it. They just couldn't quite create those good chances to potentially win this game. And yeah, it's going to be another their off season where hopefully Oscar team will learn from this, and maybe next year they'll get themselves back to this stage, which is not easy to do. I mean, just as FC Cincinnati of how they want to have their redemption tour, and they didn't go so well the following year. So yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it when it comes to the review of these Eastern Conference final game. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of this video. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.